Hey guys, it's Chris Lopez, SFG Level 2 Kettlebell Trainer. In today's video, we're going to talk about part 2 of building the perfect program. Okay, so if you guys remember yesterday in part 1, we talked about strength being your foundation. We talked about strength being your container and how your job with strength training is to try to build the size of your container, because strength is the container for which you'll be able to put all the other physical qualities. And I mentioned power, I mentioned endurance, we said hypertrophy, and especially fat loss. So the stronger you are, the more enhanced those certain qualities will be. The second layer of our program now is all about balance. It's the element that we're going to use to try to create balance and symmetry in your body. And that element is called supersets. So all supersets are exercise pairings. Now you'll hear trisets, you'll hear about metabolic pairings. That's another term for supersets. You'll even hear about, I believe, antagonistic balance is another form of supersets. Back when I was in high school, I used to do a superset where, and this is the old bodybuilding model, where you would take, or I would take, a wide grip pull down, so a pronated grip, and I would do lat pull downs on the lat pull down machine. This was before I could do chin ups. And then I would supinate my grip immediately after and blast the exact same muscles, or the muscles within the same region. So my lats, my biceps, all the muscles in my forearms, and I would blast them doing an underhand grip. So that's a form of a bodybuilding superset where you're doing two variations of the same exercise. So a wide grip pull down and an underhand grip pull down on a lat machine. Now we want to take it a little bit more advanced, because we're not bodybuilders anymore, and I'm not a high school meathead kind of guy anymore either. And we want to talk about supersets to be able to create balance and symmetry in our body. Not only in our body from a sense of aesthetics, but from the sense of movement as well. So we want to be able to make sure that our movements are well balanced. And so the way we create supersets, or how we use supersets, is using a pairing that's somewhat logical. So for example, if I'm going to be using a superset, then I could do a push and a pull. So if I wanted to do a press, double kettlebell press, then I would superset that with a chin up. That's a press in the vertical plane with a chin up in the vertical plane, or a pull in the vertical plane as well. That's one example. Another example would be an upper and a lower split. So if you take a look at the Kettlebell Evolution Advanced Fat Loss System, then we are supersetting a row with a goblet squat. So that's another example, a row being an upper body exercise, a goblet squat being a lower body exercise. And another great example would be a flexion and extension. So this is not necessarily a muscle base, so upper or lower body based superset, but a movement based superset. So flexion would be something like a hanging leg raise, and extension could be a deadlift or a kettlebell swing. And that's how you would pair your supersets. Now, why are supersets important? Well, let's think about this for a minute. Could we get away with just strength and nothing else? Yeah, we pretty much could. We'd be really strong, although there would be other qualities or imbalances that may be enhanced if we focus only on training one particular exercise for strength. And so we incorporate supersets as assistance exercises, or exercises that will help enhance our strength gains. For example, if you take a look at what you're doing every day, like a lot of us have a seat in a chair, we're in front of a computer, or we're in class all the time, or we're sitting down on the couch and we're hunched over, and we're very anterior dominant. Well, if we use our supersets, or if our strength training program is focused on, say for example, a clean and press, well, the press portion of that exercise is a very anterior dominant exercise. And over time, what you'll notice is that if you constantly sit down in a chair or in front of a desk, your shoulders will start to creep up. I know that because I'm very guilty of it myself. And therefore, when I incorporate assistance or auxiliary exercises into my programming, I really make sure that I do whatever I can to be able to create that balance in my body, to be able to pull my shoulders down and back. So a lot of the exercises that I'll incorporate into my supersets would be exercises that will complement whichever main strength training exercise that I'm doing right now. So right now, the double kettlebell press is one of the main exercises that I'm doing for strength to really try to build up. So my superset exercises, or my assistance exercises, are chin-ups, they're body weight rows. I do some face pulls as well. So a lot of things that really complement the strength portion that allow me to open up my chest and really have my shoulder blades squeezed down and back so that I can really balance out all that pushing and pulling. And if you remember back to some of my older videos, I mean, don't do things just for the sake of doing them or because they look cool. Make sure that there's a method to your madness. That's where the supersets kind of complement into the strength training, and that's where they come into play. So in the next video, I'm going to show you what the third element, kind of like the cherry on the sundae is. If you remember my big bowl of ice cream, the supersets would be the type of ice cream that you're putting in there, so the different scoops and everything. Strength would be the container. And now in the next video, in part 3 of this video series, we'll talk about what the cherry on the sundae is, or the whipped cream and all the sprinkles and all the good stuff that goes on top. So I'm Chris Lopez, SFG Level 2 kettlebell trainer, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about part 3 of how to get strong, build muscle, burn fat with kettlebells.